And welcome everyone to another exciting adventure on writing or the energy that surrounds us. If I can remember what show I'm doing.
Hello.
So tonight I have a wonderful returning guest who is amazing in her own right. Needs no introduction, but I'm going to allow her to give one anyway. So I give you the one, the only experience extraordinaire, Lala Bright.
Thank you. I'm Lala. You can see my messy room behind me. You're all very welcome. So that's it. I'm running behind today. I'm sorry. I'm doing my very best. And my son's
No,
texting.
you're doing fine. Michelle says hi.
No, Michelle. I didn't know how to like whatever. Anyway, I'm doing yeah. Hi.
So, how have you been?
Good. I've been working a lot with my business. And don't text me, people. I swear to God. No, um, I'm on my phone. No, I've been doing really good with the business. I've added on, face painting, blue and decor. I added on a sensory thing for people, kids with sensory issues and autism. So it's really doing good. I'm very happy. So, but I've been having
Wow,
a lot of weird things happen in the house too. So it's a mix, really. So
well, that's normal for you, though, isn't it?
it slowed down a lot, and then the past like month or two, it really ramped up. I'd wake up with weird bruises a lot. I'd have visitation dreams a lot, which I like the dream part. And my friend Michelle would wake up with similar bruises on her too, in similar spots as well. So, and we've known each other for over 20 years, so I think that's interesting.
Yeah, and I'm guessing you guys aren't neighbors either. So,
We no, we live like 30 minutes away from each other, so
oh, that's not so bad.
yeah. But she's
It
gonna
could
be
be
on
the
the show soon.
same UFO, just hopping from one house to another.
That's I said we have a fan. I said if somebody, I bet you it's the same thing. Yep. Because it's the same two dots on our inner upper arm, left arm. So that's just weird.
Ooh, maybe you guys are being marked.
Someone's claimed us. That sounds right, pretty much. Yeah. So you've
But
been what you been up to?
I've just been dealing with stuff around the house since it's just me now, and also trying to keep up with shows and getting scatterbrained a little on that, and behind schedule on some of where I would like to be, but I got enough done to where I can at least float the week, so I'm
Yeah.
happy with that. Need to get back into writing, and let's see what else is going on with me is starting to do more extracurricular activities like being on panels, doing shows and
Say it again.
stuff. Being on panels, friends panels, and
Oh
doing
no,
some
my
more
phone.
stuff with SSP, and
Can you hear me?
also I can hear you.
I can't hear
So
you.
what did you
Hold on
do?
1 second.
Oh, this is funny. It's probably because someone texted and glitched the phone. That's all fun with the comes to the live shows. But yeah, so y'all got to hear what's going on with me, and so I'd be curious to hear what's going on with some of you in the audience. If you're in the chat room and want to chime in, or can share what's going on with you as well. If you have anything exciting that you want to share, Ethan. Hello, Ethan. My guest will be returning shortly She had a glitch with her phone, so we're trying to figure it out and get her back in. So, meanwhile, unfortunately, y'all are stuck with me. What shall we ever talk about? Well, up here we go.
Because people keep calling and texting me. I'm sorry.
No, that's all right. I figured that's what it was and told everybody.
I
That's what.
just put me instead of Lala because I figured and everybody figured it out. So
Yeah, I was kind of like, me. Who's me?
it's good enough. No, I'm glad you're doing all that stuff. I'm proud of you. I know
Yeah.
it's been a lot lately. So
And so, one of the things that was interesting that we were kind of talking about as topic wise, I think is something that's never actually, I don't think I've ever addressed on the show in
mm,
truth. I mean, I've talked about the astral realm, but I've never talked about the beings on the astral realm. So I'm kind of
okay.
excited to get into that.
I just had a couple of weird experiences. Like the one was the Asian woman with pure black eyes that was very intimidating. And I realized I was dreaming, and that's when she appeared. And then after my parents passed, I kept dreaming of this man with pure white eyes, and he had it looked like dreadlocks almost, but he was not so nice either. But recently, I dreamed of it was an African, really tall, very thin African man in a forest, and there were these huge orbs, like as big as we are, and they were golden, and they had some type of beings behind them, but I couldn't really see what they were. And he said she doesn't know she's Zulu, and my mom has African, ancestors, DNA and all that. And so I didn't know what Zulu was. So when I woke up, I looked it up. At first, I thought he said is Zulu, and when I looked that up, it went to the Bantu people. But then I found out that there are Zulu people, tribes. So,
Oh, yeah.
but that's linked to a lot of like alien stuff, paranormal. I mean, it's very interesting actually. So I'm trying to figure out what they're trying to tell me. And it also links to shamanism and things like that. So my dad was a reiki healer. So I think it's all connected, really. So
Yeah. And for those that may not be aware, the Zulu, when I was researching, if the moon was really a part of the earth or came later, the Zulus are one of the first tribes that they talk about that have written records before the moon was in the skies.
really,
So they even talk about seeing the moon being placed where it is today.
yep,
And so that's, really interesting. And, we talk about, myths and legends, and, you could write that off and say, oh, that's just a cultural myth.
hmm.
Except for the fact that the Romans have it, the Greeks have it, pre
Right,
Columbian tribes have it,
yeah,
the indigenous tribes of America have it. So it can't be a global event that everybody got together before internet existed and said, let's pull the wool over everyone's eyes
right,
and talk about this. So
right.
to me, it says yes, the moon is not a natural piece of the earth floating around the sky.
Well, did you hear that we have a second moon? You probably did, but and it's been there a long time. They just didn't tell us. I think, and it's going to be here for a couple hundred years with us, supposedly. Nobody believes me. I'm telling you. Google
It
it.
wouldn't surprise me, but it there also was the two suns that were temporarily in our skies.
When? What was?
It,
Tell me that.
it was back when I think it was around like an eclipse or something where somebody was looking through their glasses and said, "Wait a minute, there's two suns right now." And then it was like it disappeared really quick, but it was a very short period where people were talking about we had two suns. So to have two moons wouldn't surprise me. And
Or it could have been some huge planet or UFO or something, you know.
the Death Star.
It could have been the Death Star. Yes, exactly. It could have been. But I know I saw
Yeah.
that video you're talking about. Actually, some guy took it, right? Well, a
Yep.
couple people took it. Yeah, I remember that. I still think. Well, I don't think what we are shown is what actually is happening. So, I don't think the eclipse is exactly what they say it is anyway. Really, I don't think anything is really. You know.
Yeah. And, you know, I find it really interesting. Whoever put the moon in place for us, and they talk about the moon came as Atlantis disappeared. So it's like it had to balance the oceans, so to
Mhm.
speak. And so I find it quite interesting that it is placed perfectly in orbit to block the sun to give us a total solar eclipse. But then the sun is also, perfect for the lunar eclipse.
Mhm.
And so it's like, how much thought went into putting this object in our
Yeah.
atmosphere, in our sky, to watch over us and keep the planet balanced?
Well, people think that our sun now isn't our original sun. I know the Mandela effect, but even besides that, they said it feels different. I know global warming and all that, but it
Well,
looks different.
actually,
It feels different. I don't know.
the
Didn't China put up a
corona,
fake sun?
yeah, the corona ejections have somewhat increased and are having more solar storms.
Right.
So
The one
there's
you
more
texted me
activity.
that. Mhm. Yeah, the one time I didn't feel that good, you texted me that we were having a huge solar storm. So,
Yeah, the Schumann whited out that day, and that's has a huge impact on people. And so, yeah,
mhm.
and as much as too as the Zulus talk about, interacting with aliens and having, telling their story, I find it interesting. We look at the elongated skulls of Egypt and we just say, oh, they bound their heads and this, but they've actually found there's a ET race that has elongated skulls that are perfect matches, and they're like, did they bind the skull or was it just an alien was ruling a nation on our planet? And I'm like, that's a
Right.
good point. We would never know.
And we're the
It,
alien babies.
yeah,
We're the mix. Yeah. You never know. I mean, honestly, I think certain parts of the government know a lot more than they tell us about us and different bloodlines and um you
yeah.
know, I want to know. I'm trying to find out. I'll bug certain people I know about it, but there's only so much they can tell me.
And I'm kind of curious, going back to the astral realm beings, I kind of noticed a trend that, every being you encounter in the astral, you
Mm.
had the tagline, they were not so nice. They were not so friendly. Where are you going in the astral
I don't
realm?
fucking know. I don't know. It's not my fault. Oh my god. I'm nice. Well, anyway, um I think personally it's to I don't know, sometimes I think it's to get me off course, or maybe I'm interpreting it in a scary way and it's not supposed to be. Because I mean, a lot of things make me scared about the paranormal in general. I don't know why, but um, I think every single thing they do is a symbol. Like black eyes, well, what's that mean? And Asian, what does that mean? And I think everything is a message in itself, which sounds cuckoo, but
Actually,
I've
no.
gotten lots of messages that meant something.
Dreams are messages, and
Mhm.
That's why there are people that have the gift to interpret them. So I would
Mhm.
say, yeah, symbology is the language, universal language besides music and math. Thank God, because if we were left to math, I'd be screwed.
I will be very screwed. Yes, absolutely. I only dream of people if there's a warning or a message. Usually, 90% of the time. And so I dreamed of my hairdresser Scott, and I've never dreamed of him before. So I kept forgetting to let him know, and I was nervous to let him know, even though he knows about this part of me. And finally, I text him. I go, I had a dream about you. It was just you waving. You seemed fine. I didn't, because if someone were in trouble, the dream would tell me exactly what was going to go on, like they did with my parents and boyfriend, or my son's father. And I told him, I was like, I just want you to be careful if you're going on vacation or anything, because I saw sand under your feet. And he's like, Mom, I'm going to Florida next week. And then I forgot to text him back for 24 hours. And he was so pissed off at me that he was like, for 24 hours, I thought I was going to die. Because, but the dream was, we figured out what it meant. But it's just, there's always a message, I believe, for everybody. It's just how you interpret it and if you accept the message.
And one thing that I will say, and I'm not saying this for, about your dreams,
Hmm.
but when there's a death in a vision or in a mediumship session or, in a in other words, in a symbolic form, it doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna die.
Hmm.
It could mean it's a transition phase where an old pattern is dying and a new pattern is being born, so to
Hmm.
speak, or
Yeah.
an old emotional state is pattern, or in other words, yeah, pattern is dying, disappearing, and a new pattern is being formed.
Right. Yeah.
So
Sure.
So I just want to caution everyone, because I know there are people out there who, when they go, "Oh my God, I dreamed of death. I'm gonna
Yeah,
die
you're not
on
gonna die. You're fine.
here." It's like maybe not. You
Yeah.
may just be changing the way you think about something.
Oh yeah. Well, when I had those dreams about my family, they specifically told me what was going to happen, so I knew
Yeah.
pretty much how it was going to happen and when, within the year or a few months. So, but yeah, I agree with you. A lot of times it's a transition or a warning. Like I got a warning about a flat tire on Delaney Valley Road in Towson, and then a month later that happened. It just happens.
I,
However, they can get through to you.
I like how they gave you the warning a month ahead of time.
I'm serious. It really happened.
No,
I'm not
I'm
lying.
like, because they don't have a sense of time, so they're thinking it's happening now. But in our reality, we have a different time than they do, and so
Right,
they
yeah.
think they're doing us a favor, saying, "Watch this now,"
Did you hear
but
about
it's too early.
dude, I told last time I talked to you on the show and on the phone, I remember we talked about the astral realm and people having dreams, and you can't ask, like, if you become aware that you're dreaming, you cannot ask the time or the date because there's something that gets angry in your dream, and they kind of try to kill you off in your dream so you wake up. And it happens all over the world. It's amazing. So, but they have black eyes too, whatever these beings are. So,
So
I don't.
those, yeah, I think those are like the. And I was talking about this with someone. Is you're familiar with the paranormal um, cryptid or vision of the black-eyed children?
Hmm.
But what happens when these kids grow up? Because they can't. I don't think they stay kids forever. And I said
Hmm.
to someone, "Are there black-eyed teenagers? Are there black-eyed adults? Black-eyed elderly?" It's like, we only talk
Yeah.
about black-eyed kids,
Right.
and they were like, "That's a really good question." It's like, yeah, what? do they grow up? What do they grow up into? Do they have phases of life like we do?
Mm. I think they just pretend to be kids because it makes us more vulnerable to them. You know what I mean? So they're probably 10-foot tall demons with horns and tattoos and piercings, but
Smoking a joint. Sorry, I
yeah.
couldn't resist with your imagery.
Backwards baseball caps. So yeah, now I think they just I've never experienced one, but I guess it's to make us feel like we have to help them. So don't look at
Well,
my
because
face.
it would be in our nature, a little kid,
Not
you're
me.
gonna.
If I see a kid with black eyes, fuck that. I'm
Well, you're
sorry.
not looking at the black eyes. You're seeing a kid out in the rain, tattered clothes. You're like, your
Oh,
first
yeah.
thought is, come in. You need to get out of the rain.
Yeah. I
Then
mean,
you're screwed because then you notice the eyes, and it's like too late.
that's true.
But
Just slam the
some
door. Fine.
somebody was asking in a group, and it became an interesting discussion over. There's the lore of vampires cannot enter your domain unless you give them permission.
Yeah.
Well, what if the vampire is a police officer and has a search warrant? By honoring that search warrant, are you giving them permission to enter the home,
Mhm.
or do you still have the right to say no? And it was like, it became a really interesting conversation of, by saying, okay, you have a warrant, you can execute the warrant.
Uh huh.
Is that giving permission for a vampire to enter your space?
Well, that's a great question. I'm from Baltimore, so we just wouldn't answer the door and go out the window probably. But you know what though? Not. I think they try to be sneaky because a lot of times they'll say, "Don't eat something in your dreams," because that can bind you to a contract, right? That's
Right.
happened to me before, where something creepy was trying to get me to eat something, but I realized I shouldn't. So I think they try to find loopholes. So obviously, some of them are lawyers on the other side, which is scary. That they're smart enough. I'm joking, but I think it's scary that they are smart enough to try to trick us.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I don't
I
know.
mean,
If it were a police officer, demon, vampire, I guess I would. I guess I would be screwed pretty much. There's nothing much you can do, really. So, but I like that
yeah.
question. Why? What would you
I,
do?
well, by nature, I would be like, well, you have a warrant, so I can't fight the warrant. So you're welcome to what the warrant gives you access to, but I would read it first to make sure.
Wait, is this in
Because
real life if a vampire cop came to your house, or is this a dream situation? Because you can't
I'd
read
be,
or dream.
well, in real life, we're talking real life.
Oh,
If a
well, yeah.
vampire came as a cop, in a cop's uniform and hands you a warrant, I'm like, I would read it and be like, okay, you have access to what the warrant says.
Yes.
And if the warrant, says me, then I'm going to have issues with it. It'd be like, I didn't do anything to warrant this, so um, you have to wait outside until my lawyer gets here, and then
You really thought
hopefully.
about this, didn't you?
It was a very interesting conversation, and so yeah, we were
I like
discussing,
it.
because it, but at the same token, if you get a feeling like this person is, not a normal cop, I would be like, hold on, and I would call the normal cops to
Michelle would
come
like
and
it. She likes
say, is yeah, Michelle's saying she'd calling a vampire lawyer.
No, you wouldn't. You'd be like, turn me vampire so we can get married. She likes vampire stories a lot too. She says she's seen someone with strange eyes, and the first thing that showed up in her mind was like a vampire. So I don't know. What'd she
Yeah,
say?
she's saying stop. Well, actually, it's stop.
Are you excited for us to be on your show
Oh
in two
yeah,
months? That's gonna be
yeah.
interesting.
She says, "Hey now, hey."
And she has a laptop, so it'll be better. By the way,
Oh, are
and
you
she
guys
doesn't
gonna?
have ADD either, so it'll be even better for
So you
everyone.
guys gonna be side by side in the same room?
Yeah. Yep. I think she's coming over here, so that'll be good.
Who's got
Cause
the better Wi-Fi?
I don't know, Michelle. Do you have no? I don't know.
Michelle says no echoes.
Do you hear an echo right now, Michelle?
I,
Oh, or you? Sorry. Whoever. I don't care.
just ignore the host. I see how it
I'm
is.
sorry. I meant you. I didn't really. No, it'll be fun.
She says, "That's what my agent tells me." Yes, I do.
Okay. Well, we can't go to her house because there's a bunch. She's got a big family, so nope. They. I don't know. She'll come over here. It'll be quieter. And my puppy dog loves her. She comes over sometimes when we work jobs. She'll work jobs with me, and they'll be like 2 hours away. So she'll spend the night, and we'll do, because I have all the ghost gadgets. I don't know how to use half of them, but we figure it out. And we do EVP. We do what's the one? It'll say words out to you. It'll spell it out, different ones as you ask questions. And it was saying her family members' names. It was saying situations she's been in recently. Of course,
Talking
she's
about the obulus.
it's a little box. No, it's a what the fuck is it? I don't know. I'll show it to you later. And then what? And then we have the rods that we play with. So there's a bunch of stuff that we do.
She says, "Yep."
Okay. Well, yeah. But yeah, it's interesting. So, but whatever
Yes.
she contacts, it gets like shitty with her. So I find
Oh,
that interesting.
Michelle said it is what he said. Lots of laughs. So it's the obulus.
Oh, okay. Well, good. I don't know. But yeah, I think it's interesting. She's very good at being a psychic. She picks up a lot of spirits and other things. Well, recently, past couple years, 3 years, she's been picking up, um, I guess, aliens or some other type of beings. And that I think that's what's leaving the bruises on both of us. Because we didn't
Yeah.
talk for a couple. We took a little break for a couple years, and then as soon as we got back together to be friends, and we started waking up with the same bruises, the same days. So
Yeah,
something's going
and
on.
I had. Oh, do I have it around here? Oh, I don't have it anymore. I
What?
did something with it, but I had a visitation for 2 days. Oh, here it is. By two crafts. The first day, it was a craft I had never seen before. One very bright, one a little bit darker, and they were in a diagonal of each other. And
Hmm.
then the very next night, when I went out, there was only one. And so one, I guess, gave up and left. But
Hmm.
this, I can't really show it
Put it
because
up
I
closer.
have virtual background.
Oh,
But, oh, wait, there it's going.
okay.
But it was like a diamond with the triangle in one corner, and there was a space between the triangle and completing the diamond. And I was like, and they never moved. It's like I walked outside, saw it, went back in, got my camera, got my dogs, went
Really?
back out, and they were in the same spot. They'd never moved.
Oh
It was
my
like
god.
they wanted me to see them.
Oh yeah, definitely. They know that you can see them. I swear, they really do. They can. I think they want certain people to. Personally.
Yeah. I think
Interesting.
one of my friends tried to tell me they were Antari ships because they were the symbol looked like the emblem on the Antari fleet. I was like, yeah, maybe.
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe. Did I tell you about? Oh my God. Okay. I think I told you about, yes, the triangle mark with the three dots in the center that was on the middle of my lower back, right? I told you
Right.
about that. I found a friend. His name is Eric, and he's been interviewed on Contact in the Desert, all kinds of stuff. He has the same mark. He woke up with the same markings on his hand, the same one. I couldn't believe it. I just, I don't even know what to think. It's just amazing. Because part of me thought, well, am I crazy? Did I do something for this to happen? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting. And he has been abducted quite a bit, he says. So,
Well, I actually have news on that as well. I interviewed a lady named Madame Fiera,
mm,
and she asked me one night if I could send like photos of my arm, my legs, if I had any birthmarks. And she said she traces the birthmarks, and that can tell her what starseed you were.
okay.
And so I was like, okay, this sounds interesting. And I was like, I don't really think I have any birthmarks, that many. So I
Mm,
sent her, and I think she found like 12 to 20 different patterns.
mm-hmm.
And I was like, man, there were like triangles, diamonds, or hourglass. I was like, there was all types of shapes. And I was like, I didn't even notice these. And some of them are on the front of my face, and I never noticed.
Mm.
And I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty tattooed up.
So she said, is she saying that you're, oh, she thinks you're a mix of different
Oh,
alien
yeah.
hybrids? Is that what she's saying?
Yeah, she's definitely saying I'm a hybrid because
Like
there's
what?
a lot of different. We were talking about it a while back, but then stuff started. I started getting busy with shows and kind of lost contact. And she was dealing with some personal stuff too, and
Mm-hmm.
kind of got kind of got quiet for a little bit. And so I'll have to
She
reach back
said,
out to her.
did she say you're Lyran at all?
I don't know that she did, but others have.
I was just wondering. That's all.
And I remember one night at the Full Disclosure Now conference, a friend walked up to me and she goes, "You have mantis eyes," and that was pretty much it. I was like, "Oh, cool."
Thank you.
I'm like, and I didn't really understand who the mantis were at the time, and so I was like, "Oh, that's cool. Thanks for letting me know." And we kind of were like, "Yeah," and then we went to do a show. And then I found out later that the mantis, through a channeling session with Starseed Lolo,
Mm-hmm.
that the mantis are the healers. I was like, oh, that makes sense. I do reiki and I have healing marks on my hands, and so yeah, that makes sense that I would have mantis eyes.
What do you mean? You have healing marks on your hand. What does that mean?
So I was taught one of the few things I remember when I did a class on palm reading. If
Mm-hmm.
you have the mark of an M on your palms,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
that's a mark of a healer.
Oh shit. I do.
I have one on both hands.
Hmm. Interesting. I've never had an experience with a mantid or a dream or anything like that. And I mean, I'm glad. No offense to anybody, but I just don't feel seeing a big ass bug in in front of me is gonna make me feel better about life. So,
Well, that's why some of them have gone into the hybrid programs is
hmm,
they understand, a human seeing a mantis head 6, 7 feet tall in front of them, they're gonna freak out. And so she was like, "Yeah, that's why we're doing the hybrid program is so we look a little more human. So you guys will work with us and get adjusted.
I have a friend that she got a reading from someone and she said she had that hybrid DNA or whatever you call it, the mantis also. So I guess a lot of people feel they do. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm,
I did a um, guided meditation one night, and the whole meditation was about going back to the birth of your soul. And I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. Never thought about that.
mhm.
And so, as my spark, as if you want to call it as such, was ignited, they were asking me, so who's standing over you? And I was like, Isis and Thor. And I was like, I don't know why a Norse and an Egyptian are hanging over me, but
Mhm.
they are. And they were like, no, that's cool. And I was like, yeah, it kind of explains why I have the reaction to electricity that I have, and
Would
why
that lean back to Anunnaki and all that?
probably even before them.
Okay,
I mean,
interesting.
we're talking creation, so it depends how far back you believe you can go.
That'd be cool. I'd like to get hypnotized and find out information like that.
But then I had another dream where vision, guided, and it really messed with me for a few months because I saw myself being taken out of my mom's womb
Mhm.
and being injected with DNA from other star races and then being put back in to be born. And so it's like my reaction to that was like, so I was created. I wasn't born, I was created. So for the longest time, I was like, I don't have a birthday anymore. I was made, I was manufactured, I was created.
Yeah.
And then I was like, yeah, I eventually came to terms with I'm a hybrid, so we still get born. So
I mean,
I'm
you
back
know.
to having a birthday.
Oh my God. Yeah. No, that's. I mean, I remember hearing people talk about my labs and things like that, where they
Yeah.
do things like that to people, humans that they take and that are pregnant. And I don't know if it's true. That's just the stories that I've heard from others. Or was it the hybridization program and things like that? So.
Yeah. And I found out I found out probably towards the end of last year, early this year from my mom, an
Mhm.
interesting story around my birth.
Okay.
That I was born and I was rushed right away to incubation chambers because I was born with bronchitis. So they were like, my lungs weren't, you know, working properly. They weren't developed properly. So I was set in this certain room. Well, my dad would visit me all the time, through a glass window. And one day she said he went there and I wasn't there. And the
Mhm.
hospital nurses were all like, yes, he is. He's in there. And my dad was like, no, he's not.
Mhm.
And then it was like a while later, I appeared back in where I was supposed to be. And there was like no real explanation as to where I went.
Oh my gosh.
And
Okay.
so I was like, huh. So did something happen? And then she's like, I think it might have been, breathing treatment or doing something to try and help your lungs.
Mhm.
But I was like, I don't know because you hear of people talking about being little kids that are born being taken into a room, injected with stuff, and then put back, and then they're brought up in programs.
Mhm.
And I'm like, I was brought up in programs. I didn't know it, but I know it
The
now.
the gate program that has to do with a birthmark on your left arm I have it, and a lot of people. I mean, I don't know if I was in the gay. I feel like I was, but yeah, if you were in the gay program, you have this birthmark on your left arm, and it, they just tested on certain children that they knew were psychic or whatever, and it happened quite often. And dreams of a mall world and bridges and roller coaster bridges and like tons of people having the same dreams after they started doing the testing at school, so
Actually, you just, made me realize something is when I would go to the IMAX theater, when I was a little kid, we
mhm
would be sitting in a normal seat, but the screen is like almost 360 degrees, right?
mhm
Well, the image that they would play before whatever we were watching was this helicopter where it starts to take off and then it accelerates and it leans forward to accelerate and
mhm
starts flying around. And every time it would tilt forward, I would grip really hard my armrest and I
mhm
would be like trying to force myself to lean back more because I thought I was going to fall forward.
oh yeah
I literally, it's like my mind was going, oh my God, we're going to fall out of our seat
mhm
because we're like literally going forward and tilting forward. And it's like,
mhm.
and then they had where you went up a roller coaster and went down and kind of went on this roller coaster ride. And my mind was like, I was holding on and reacting as if I was literally on this roller coaster.
Well, they put subliminal stuff in TV, movies, everything. They make you
Yeah.
want to buy food, all kinds of stuff. So,
But what, why I bring this up is this is the only place, and it's attached to a natural history museum
mhm.
that I had that experience. I go to other IMAXs and I'm just like, yeah, that's cool, whatever.
Hmm.
But there, it's like those images. It's like, oh man, it's like, and I stay away from virtual reality because I'm like, I don't trust, what it's doing to the brain. If my brain already was being tripped up by a screenplay, I'm like, I just imagine what a VR would do.
Do you think that we already are in like a virtual reality or simulation?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, in a sense, yeah. I agree.
I mean, it's too hard not to be. I mean,
Yep.
look,
Well,
I mean, our weather's manipulated. Our, sense of time is manipulated.
yep. I agree. Clouds are not clouds. I found out when me and Michelle saw that UFO. It was a fake cloud. I didn't know that they could do that, honestly.
Oh
But
yeah,
I don't know. I don't. I think this. I think it's just a realm, and like people fight over if it's round or flat. I just think. I think it's neither. I think we're just in some dimensional place that feels physical, but it's not. I think it's so that our energy can be encapsulated in like this body, and so we can do whatever we're supposed to be doing here or made to do. I don't know, but I
yeah.
just. I don't think it's as physical as they make us feel it is. So.
Well, I can tell you from my experience of walking in space without a helmet on, so you can't say it was a trick of my visor. I had no visor.
Hmm.
The Earth is round. It may not be a perfect sphere, but it is definitely not flat. I
It
can
could be.
vouch for that, and so do all my SSP friends that are up in
Oh,
space. They're like,
I
yeah,
get real upset.
we're
Yeah.
not flat.
I don't know. I don't have the answer. That's just what I feel. That's all. I maybe the physical here is. Perhaps it is. Yeah, I do. That could be correct.
But Antarctica has got a lot of mysteriousness to it from what I starting to find out and hear from people.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's the only place that all of the leaders get along, which is odd. You know. And that's the only place. Well, that's one of the only places that we're not allowed to go fully there. I mean, it's just and Admiral Byrd and the information. It just sounds kind of weird. That's all. I think there's a lot more to it also.
Yeah, and I was talking with Brad recently, like probably a month or two ago, and we were talking about how, a lot of people don't know about the Falkland Island War that happened in the 1980s,
Yeah, I don't know about that.
where the British invaded a island off of South America,
Mhm.
and part of the fleet was also going to Antarctica.
Mhm.
Well, they found on the island this sentient black goo.
Mhm. Okay.
And whatever it envelops, it becomes a clone of that,
Mhm.
and it alters the way it like if you had a sheep, for example, and the black goo got a hold of the sheep,
Mhm.
it would clone the sheep, but the sheep would act like a wolf and attack other sheep. It was like a predatory goo.
Okay.
And so it was like interesting that they were fighting over this, and
Mhm.
soldiers, are having a hard time, with this, dealing with this, and that it was all hushed up really quick. And they say they took a sample to England to test. And I was like, oh, that was smart. Of course they did. And so
I believe all that
it
stuff. I
probably
like that.
got released out.
Well, I mean, didn't aren't there some stories of people they found them passed away? You know, like experiencers, and they had black goo near them. Nobody knows what it
Yeah.
is. I don't. I like that kind of stuff. That's spooky. I kind of believe it. I really do. Because you never know. We don't.
Yeah.
There's types. There's life out there that doesn't look like us. It could be like a goo that can transform and mimic what we are. Who knows? I like that. I don't know.
I actually had something really interesting happen at my house recently. Sorry, whatever is echoing back in my ear right now is not sounding human. It sounds like
It's the
somebody's
black
trying to
goo.
do something. But I think we lost Lala. I think something happened with the phone again. Let's see. Is she coming back? Oh man, I really wanted to share this experience I just had recently that was kind of strange in a way. It is weird. I agree with you, Michelle, and I'm glad that you're hearing it too because it did not sound normal and it did not sound like it was echoing me. It's like warbles, yeah. It's like somebody was trying to type or say something really fast, and that's not me, and I'm not typing anything. Oh, we lost her signal, so hopefully we'll be getting her back. But I'm not saying what the experience I'm about to share is SSP or anything. I'm just saying it's really strange, and I'm hoping that she'll pop back in and we can get her take on it as well. And Michelle, if you want to chime in about it too, you can. And so there's a lot of strangeness going on right now, and a lot of Mandela effects are coming out more and more recently. And so I think that's because timelines are merging and they don't merge fully together, that there's little pieces of timeline A, timeline B, and timeline C that don't merge properly. And so you have these points where everybody has different memories because the timeline, they still maintain other timeline memories, which is interesting in its own right that has that capability. And so I'm kind of curious, since we're waiting, does anyone in the chat room, and there's a few people in the chat room, do you guys have a question for me? We'll use the time instead of me just rambling about a topic. I will give you guys a chance to ask me a question, and I will answer questions until Lala returns. Don't be shy. We'll do a unofficial Q&A for the show, and we'll see what questions you guys have. The only bad question, just keep in mind, is the one you never ask. Really? Nobody's got a question? Y'all just want to hear me rant about stuff? So, okay, well, since what can we talk about? Okay, so Michelle says they are, but they don't merge completely because of vibrational poles and gates. I agree, there is something unique and I sometimes wonder if there's reasons we remember the original timeline over the new timeline. And so, Lala just texted me that her phone died. So, I'm not sure if she's going to be able to get a charge on it and join us again, or if she's done for the night. And so, I'm going to find out. Although, I gotta admit, this is kind of funny that, she's texting me, her phone died, and I'm texting her on a phone that has no signal. So that's kind of funny. Force a habit. But so back to the um, timelines merging and causing Mandela effects. I feel like having memories, kind of, I think, is ways of reminding us that everything in this world is not as it seems. That we don't blindly accept things, because I remember an orange sun and now the sun is white, and I remember the moon being up only at night, now it's up during the day, or it's up 5 out of 7 days, and it's just completely random. And so I think it's simply, you know, an artificial, construct. And the interesting question then becomes, is the moon a hologram that's interacting, and it's like the Doctor on Voyager, where he's a hologram, but they were able to make him solid so he could interact with people. And so, is that what our moon is? A solid holographic image, or is it part of something else that was dragged in? This, is interesting thing, to think about, and we may never know the true answer to. And Michelle is saying, I think that's true, but I think some memories stay to help you through on your particular journey. Yeah, I would agree. That there I think it's to remind us who we are and where we came from, because that never changes. Where we came from and where we go in this world never changes based on our beginning trajectory. But along the journey, we do make different choices, and the Mandela effects can be, side effects of choices that we make as well, that put us into different timelines. And so there's a term that I've heard of that people use called timeline jumping. And so I wonder, how much are we doing that and we don't know that we're doing that? So that's something to think about too while we're, going through the world and doing what we think we're doing and experiencing what we think we're experiencing. Are we causing these vibrational pulls to form by the choices that we make? And so that's, another interesting question is, how much are we responsible for our environment around us, and how much is purely accidental, so to speak? Even though I'm a big component, there are no accidents really. Everything happens somewhat for a reason. But yeah, it's, the stuff that we ponder and the stuff that we think about. And so I'm curious, thoughts that you guys have around all of this. And, we can look at it on the quantum level too. And so Michelle is saying, oh, absolutely, but timeline jumps are brutal on the soul, especially because it mucks soul contracts. I think it's 80-20. And I think, Michelle brings up a good point, with the soul contracts. And yes, it can muck them up, but at the same time, it can break ones that we didn't even know we had that are no longer serving us. And so that could be a benefit as well of timeline jumping, is we're being kicked out of programs that we no longer need to be a part of. So, it's something to definitely look at and put some thought into. And oh, it sounds like Lala recharged her phone, so
I got tired
she's
of
back.
holding the. I got tired of holding the mic stick. I'm laying in bed. I'm sorry. This is as good as it gets tonight.
Oh, you're absolutely fine. We've been talking about timeline skipping and how it affects soul contracts and
Mm.
Mandela effects increasing while we were waiting. And true, it is intriguing to ponder. But what I was waiting to share just as you dropped off
Mm.
was one day I was like, I got up and something said I need to unplug something because I had just had a new router put in and a battery for the router to keep the Wi-Fi going. Even if the house loses power, I can still have Wi-Fi.
Mm.
But I was like, and I had a backup battery, and it started to make a sound, and I was like, I couldn't get it to stop, so I unplugged it, and unplugged everything from it and finally got it off of the shelf because it was designed to specifically fit and just had enough room for plugs to be plugged in, but no room really to do anything else. And a corner of the plastic on the battery was melting to the shelf. And I
Hmm.
thought, huh. So when I opened it up and took the battery out, which took some finagling, the battery is in perfect condition.
Hmm.
I have no idea what caused the shell of the battery to melt in one corner. And so, I mean, it was melting to the point to where I could pick up this black plastic and roll it around in my fingers and make it into a smooth ball.
Oh my god. I'm glad you. I mean, that could have caused the fire. Maybe the black goo.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, I'm laughing, because it's like it was like black goo. It was
Hmm.
like this tar. It was like a tar. The plastic was like had changed form from being hard to almost liquid. And so I got up as much of it as I could, and I haven't replaced the battery yet, and probably won't. But it did make me think, when we talk about like targeting and
Hmm.
things happening, I'm like, could something have hit the battery that was supposed to hit me and melted the corner of the battery
I mean, there's
and
people.
set off set off the battery alarms, but there was nothing wrong with the batteries. There was no reason the battery alarm should have went off, period.
What wasn't there a woman scientist that said that her hands were being burned? Like she had proof that some type of weapon was burning her hands so that she would stop looking into certain things. So
Yeah.
I believe in that stuff. I really do. I absolutely do. I think targeting, especially not only scientists and things like that. I think certain bloodlines that are targeted, like I know it's goofy, but O negatives, I think that they're monitored. To that's just my opinion. I think they are. I think there's something different about certain types, bloodlines.
Yeah. Michelle is saying, yes, it was one of the 12 that went missing.
Oh, the lady, yeah.
Well,
She
and
go ahead.
I was going to say, talking about bloodlines, somebody pointed out that I think it was Eve or Mary Magdalene. I can't remember who it was they were talking about, but every blue eyed person on this planet is related to them. That's a bloodline. Only their bloodline has the blue eyes.
Mhm.
And I was like, hey, I got them.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, I know it's silly, but I always wondered, well, why are there different um, eth- ethnic ethnicities of people? Are they different types of aliens, of hybrids of different beings? I mean, I know it's all where you grew up, where you live. It's why you look the way you do. But I don't know. I just wondered maybe if.
It could very well be, if, Syrians, mixing with Earthlings, it muddies the color of the skin and, you get a certain color. It could be, that culture stems from them
Mhm.
being here first. And so it's, doesn't surprise me. But one of the things that's interesting, and I have no real explanation for this, and I find it suspicious, but my mom and dad really didn't, was on my birth certificate, there's no blood type written down.
Mhm.
Every surgery that I've had, they never recorded what my blood type was. And
Mm-hmm.
so I have no idea what my blood type is.
That's unusual. That's very, very unusual. What if something went wrong in a surgery? How would they know what to give you? Like,
I asked the surgeon, the last surgery that I had a few years ago, and I was like, "You guys don't have recorded what my blood type is? How did you know what to give me?" And they go, "Well, we tested in that moment, and
hmm,
we know what to give you in that moment, but we don't know
hmm.
why it wasn't written down. It should have been." And I was like, "Yeah, I know what that word 'should' means."
You should get it tattooed on your stomach,
But,
just in case.
and then people will go, "Well, you can just go and get your blood tested and find out."
Hmm.
And I found out because I was born with bronchitis, like Carter Blood Care, they won't touch my blood for 6 months if I have an episode because
Hmm.
it's viewed as my blood has toxins in it. And so it's like, well, yeah, I get triggered a lot because my trigger is a very common element. So it's like, I can't go get blood. And so it's like, I don't feel like paying a lab to give me the blood type
It's
and
expensive,
nothing
isn't it?
else. It is expensive to get blood tests done.
Right. I don't know. So you don't know what your blood type is at all still?
I don't. I even had blood drawn to do testing on it, and I asked them, "What's the blood type?" And they go, "Well, you didn't ask for that, so we didn't test it." I was like, "What?" So, yeah, apparently you gotta specify you want that test.
The only reason I knew, I found out, well, I mean, my parents, I mean, they never told me, but I got tested to see. I was going to give my son's father, um was in dialysis, and he needed a kidney. And so
Yeah.
they asked everybody to get tested to see if they were a match, if they would be interested in donating a kidney. And so I did. I didn't think I would match, but I that's how I found out that I had O negative blood. And I asked my that made me ask my parents, and they both have O negative blood. So, and my dad, he was psychic. I think O negatives are very psychic, and also a lot of the experiencers that I've met are O negative. I whenever I used to do the podcast, I'd always ask them, "What, if you don't mind telling me, what blood type are you?" And they'd always usually say O, either O negative or like a something. So it's O or A usually. I think that's
OA.
interesting.
They're OA.
OA, yeah, it's a new type. OA, yeah. No, but
And
I think there's something
but
to it. So.
that brings up an interesting question. Knowing that I'm a hybrid, if I give an organ to somebody,
Mm.
does the body accept the hybrid organ or will it reject it? And the other question is, will that person start having abilities that the hybrid has because they have a hybrid organ?
I mean, isn't there something where sometimes the person gets like an organ and they start remembering things from the other person, or having food cravings that the other person had? I mean, it could be possible.
Yeah. I
In
mean,
a gesture.
characteristic traits, yeah, but I'm talking like you're saying, if this hybrid is, a medium and is
Hmm.
tapped in and you give an organ to someone who's not, can they start doing mediumship real easy because you do mediumship easily? Does it transfer with the organs or not?
Hmm. I don't know.
And
I think a lot of people. I personally think a lot of us are hybrids of some type. I do. I think we're all kind of tested on here. So,
oh yeah,
it might, maybe it won't take That's what you're saying. Maybe the person, it just won't take for them. I don't know. The body will reject it or something.
And Michelle's saying it's Baltimore East. Oh,
Yes, that's true. I don't know. What do you think?
yeah, it's an interesting question because in theory, anybody can be a medium.
Mm.
Anybody can do any ability that anybody else has. There's nothing really unique that I can say, like, oh, because I was injected with Andromedan DNA, that's why I can do this.
Mm.
And so I just wonder if it, just activates and takes hold in that person. And one of the things I'm also curious to, contemplate is, like, I have a fast healing factor. I'm
Mm.
not saying I'm Wolverine or anything, but I can heal pretty quick.
Mm.
If I gave an organ to somebody, would they start to be able to heal faster?
That's a good question. Yeah, maybe. I believe a lot. I mean, I don't know a lot of stuff, but I do believe a lot of things because this world is magical, really, where we live. I believe it
Oh
is.
yeah.
If you can think something, if you think of something with your heart enough, and it happens, that's pretty magical. So why not what you're talking about? You know?
It's funny you say it that way because I recently was talking with some star beings with Starseed Lolo, and the common thread that was coming through was basically them saying, if you can think it, it exists.
Yeah, I believe that. Yep.
And they were even, I was like asking, like, what's your thoughts of this or that? And they're like, well, since you thought it, it exists somewhere. May not be in our reality, but it exists in some reality somewhere.
Mhm. Well, didn't scientists say that there's a bunch of us in different dimensions, and that we can, with a timeline jump, depending on our frequency, and so if you're really depressed, you go to a shitty uh, version of you, and if you raise your frequency, you go to a better one. You know,
Yeah, and
could you
I
imagine a
also,
bunch of me around? Oh my god.
I don't know, I don't think that might be so bad.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, sorry, I cut you off. Go ahead.
I was just say, I don't know if you remember or even watched, like, do you watch Jet Li movies?
Mm, I used to with my dad. Yeah.
There was one he did called The One.
Mhm.
And what it was is they were talking about a premise of he existed on, say, 12 different realities. He could jump from reality 1 to reality 2, and if he killed his version of himself in reality 2, reality
Mhm.
1 got stronger.
Mhm.
And so the more he was able to kill of himself, the stronger he got to where he would be the only one left.
Mhm.
And it was like, what are you going to be? Are you going to be a strong good person or a strong bad person?
Mhm.
And so it came down to the fight of the final two to find out which one would exist. And it's kind of like a version of the Highlander, those movies and series, but
Yeah.
it was an interesting premise of jumping timelines to take yourself out. What would that do?
Well, that's like in the dreams when these astral beings get mad that you're aware you're dreaming, they kill you out of the dream. That's how everyone describes how they wake up, is that they're killed out of the dream. And then there are people, that have said they felt they really did die, but when they woke up in the hospital, like say one person says she got hit by a truck, but when she woke up in the hospital, she had no bruises. e- Everything, nothing was broken, but life was the same, but a little bit different. So the
Yeah.
Mandela effect started for her. So, I mean, perhaps that we do die and then wake up in a different us, in a different realm. I believe that could happen. I really do. Now, I don't know what happens as we age, where that goes, but you never know, really.
I did have a moment when I was a teenager where I think I either had precog or a timeline shift happen because I was driving down this street, faster than I should have been, but not like super dangerously fast. And I remember hearing a side mirror get hit and breaking, and I was like, "Oh my god, how do I explain this? How do I do this?" So, and I was like, I can't drive away. And so I turn around and I go back
No.
up the street.
Hmm.
Every car had intact side mirrors. There were no broken side mirrors. So I was like, did I see, if I would have broke a mirror if I kept going and doing it somewhere else?
Hmm.
Or did I actually hit a mirror, but because I went back and owned it, the universe is like, nope, he learned the lesson. We don't need to do this part and put the mirror back
Hmm.
for me, so to speak.
I believe all that stuff. I do. I really do. I believe your choices really do create the world around you. Your thoughts create the world around you. I do. You know, and maybe that did happen. For you. You never know. Really.
I mean, there's a whole bunch of like different nuances, and I started dubbing myself as being like lucky because so many times I should have been caught for stuff and never really was. And it was like, yeah,
Like what? What are you trying to say? What'd you do?
like I would do 70 down a road that was like
Oh,
supposed to
okay.
be 30,
Oh my god. Yeah.
and I would hit all the green lights. And oh, yeah, one day, I kid you not, I witnessed, and I know this happened because I was on one side of traffic and then I was on the other side of traffic,
Hmm.
but I went through a red light without
Hmm.
realizing it was red
Hmm.
and managed to go through heavy traffic without ever hitting a car.
Oh my god. You have protectors with you. They're probably so exhausted with you. Oh my god.
And on another occasion, I was on a highway and there were two semis and an exit was coming up, and my ex-girlfriend was in the car, I think, at this point, and we were visiting someone, or a friend was in the car, I can't remember, but I wasn't in the car alone.
Hmm.
And I sped up to go around the first semi, got in between the semis and went completely over and was able to make the exit, but I had no idea what was on the other side of those semis. But it's like
Uh-huh.
I knew I could do it, and so I did it. And it's like, and you know me, I'm in tune with my intuition, and so if my intuition says do it, I'm gonna do it because
I'm
I
never
know it's
getting
not gonna.
towed.
But I mean, I don't do it as much anymore. But it was like I feel like you're saying, it was like learning to trust
Yeah.
the intuition, and it's like, do you trust it or not? Are you going
Oh
to get in
yeah.
an accident or not? Oh, Lon's back.
Yay, hi. Oh yeah, I wing life 90% of the time, and I'm I'm very lucky I'm alive for I do have protectors. I really do. Hold on, Michelle. Don't text me, Michelle.
Why would
Although I
Michelle
know,
be texting you because she's watching the show?
so rude. I swear. No, but yeah, I know. You yeah, listen to your. I believe in listening to yourself, and I mean, I wouldn't do what you did, but I'm glad you survived.
Well, not everybody, is the same, and so I don't recommend doing it, you know, for other people to do it, and I would totally, turn myself in if I felt it would do any justice.
Mhm.
But I'm like, what are they gonna do? It's like,
Yeah.
it's not like they can arrest me for doing something that they have no actual proof other than my word that I did it. And
They
so
wouldn't
it's
care if
like,
you came in there and told on yourself. They'd be like, "All right, well, thank you." I mean, what.
yeah, they'd probably be like, well, thanks for being honest, and I'm glad you don't do it anymore. So
Yeah.
it's all right.
Well, listen, like I told you before, how I had for a whole month the moon was different. It didn't have, the man on the moon or the face on the moon or whatever. And
Yeah,
when I Googled it, there was nothing about the man on the moon except one drawing somebody did a long time ago. And that's the thing with like Mandela effects. You won't find anything except old drawings here and there from people. Anyway,
yeah,
a month goes by, and all of a sudden, the face is on the moon again. I Google it. Everything's back on Google. Like I didn't lose my mind from like this literally happened. It never happened again, but I don't know why or what happened or if I went somewhere or I don't know what. I can't find any information about it, but weird shit happens all the time.
yeah. And one of the things I was talking about the moon while we were waiting for you to come back on was if it's a solid hologram like the Doctor on Voyager, where he can interact with solid matter, because sometimes it's in the sky, sometimes it's not in the sky. It's up
Mhm.
during the day now versus only at night because
Mhm. Yeah.
I mean, I remember studying in school, in elementary school, being drilled in me. The day star is the sun, the night
Yeah.
star is the moon.
Right.
Never the two shall meet, and now the two have met and hang out together, and it's like it's confusing.
Yeah, it hasn't gone down. I don't care what anybody says. The moon's been up there. What? It's been. I was in Florida, so it's been like 8 years. I haven't seen it going down. I don't care what people say. That's just
Yeah,
my personal opinion. It has not gone down. And it used. That's I
yeah,
grew up. The same thing, and maybe they meant something else, but it never stayed up in the sky so obviously before. So I think we're in. I know this sounds cuckoo. I think we're somewhere else. I really do. I don't think we're. I don't think I'm where I grew up in. I don't.
yeah. Michelle says sometimes it's next to the sun, and I seen and took a picture of two suns side by side. Yeah, we were
Mhm.
talking about that earlier of the two sun scenario, and that there's two moons.
Mhm.
And so, but and talking about, being somewhere else, I remember one night looking up at the sky and somebody goes, "Oh, you see this straight line going across the sky?" And I said, "Yeah." He goes, "That's the Milky Way." And the first thought in my head was, if we're in the Milky Way, how is it a straight line? There should be a gap where we are, and we shouldn't see it. And somebody goes,
Right.
well, we're so far on the outskirts that you can see the whole thing. And then I've heard we actually, for a
Moved.
few months out of the year, we are in another galaxy and then return to the Milky Way galaxy. That we actually jump into two different galaxies.
Is this like a scientific thing they're saying now, or is this? what, just like a conspiracy or what? I
Oh,
know the
this was
Mandela
back in the
effect.
90s, and I've
Mm.
never heard of it since.
What
Lon's
line say?
He says, I've received reports that the moon has changed locations instantly in the past few months.
Thank you. See, exactly.
Yeah, I
Well,
mean,
good.
I was just going to say, there are so many things that we grew up with knowing
Mm.
that now it's like, nope. And nobody seems to like take a second look and question it. They're just like, okay, it is, well, this is what it is now. Okay. And I'm like, really?
Oh well, that's because I think everybody's not dumbed down. I would say numbed down. You know, we're taught not to ask anything because we can be labeled as weird or stupid or get maybe we'll get in trouble or whatever the situation is. We're taught to not question anything, and they've taught us all very well that, you know. So then we have the little groups like that we have here that talk about it. And we're still labeled as weird on the outside, but I think more and more people are becoming aware that something just isn't right, you know.
Yeah. Michelle calls them the sheep. I was like, yep, the sheeples.
Well, it's not. I mean,
Uh,
it's not their fault, you know. I mean, if I would have not had the experiences I've had in life that I can't just shove away and say it was nothing, then I might be that person that just ignores everything. What did he say?
yeah. Oh, he was talking about the double sun effect. He was saying that there's a sundog effect where you're seeing double images. It's an optical effect. Who knows?
Mhm. I don't know. I haven't seen that, but
I have actually seen, and I can't prove it, but I have seen there's an energy that circles the sun, and I remember it going clockwise, and then there are times where I'll look at it and I'll see the it's going the opposite direction, like the sun has changed directions. It's spinning a different direction. So I don't know if anybody else has done that because when I was in elementary school riding the bus, I would stare at the sun and watch the sun because I was in the back. Nobody wanted to talk to me. So I was like, hey, let's
no.
watch the sun. And so I would see the sun like kind of
Sun
go through
gazing.
some iridescent coloring, but I would see it rotating specific ways. And then I would notice some days it's spinning other ways.
I
And
never
I
noticed
was,
that, but now I can't look at the sun. It makes me feel not good when I do it now. I can't stare at it anymore. But I did take a picture. Maybe it's my camera phone, but I took a picture of the sun, and it was like honeycomb. uh, it looked like honeycomb. The picture of the sun when I zoomed in, and I've
ooh,
never had that happen before, so I don't know. It only happened one day in particular. But a lot of people, here's my conspiracy. A lot of people think that it's a false or fake sun and it's just a bunch of, like, it's a created sun, man made, and the honeycomb is,
yeah.
we're getting a picture of it or something.
Or maybe it's the universe telling you you need honey.
I already do that. It's fine. My tea. I put honey in my tea. No, but listen, China made a big ass sun with a bunch of LEDs, and that looks like a honeycomb. So you don't know. Oh.
No, and you get enough drones together, you can create a moon effect
Hmm. Really?
or a sun effect. Yeah, they can get bright enough to make it look like it's daytime versus nighttime.
What happened to all the drones people were seeing last year? It just stopped happening.
Um, Personally, I think they went back into the ships.
Were like scouts or
And
something?
no, I saw a commercial that was that came out right before all of this, and it was the Navy talking about new technologies and everything, and how their drones are now a part of the military. And
Mhm.
there were these flaps that open, and like hundreds of drones just came out of the ship to do what they were programmed to do. And then all of a sudden, all these drones were flying around. And I was like, I wonder if that's the Navy, showcasing what they can do and
Mhm.
seeing what it'll do to the mass, people.
Mhm.
Is it a possible psyop weapon to where they can launch them off the shore of territory that we're about to invade because of something they did to us, and be
Right.
like, boom, we launch these out, and we'll put everybody in mass hysteria, and we can easily go in and just take over with minimal loss of life versus, yeah, a long drawn out fight going street by street. So that could have
Although
been what was going on.
although I've noticed that when something unusual or paranormal or otherworldly, whatever, happens to the public, all of a sudden the government recreates it and says, "Oh yeah, we have these," or we were testing something, or so
Yeah.
that we think it's them and not something else. So,
Yeah, and I mean the sun, there's a lot of talk about you can go through the center of the sun to
mhm.
another dimension, and that it's like a gateway.
A portal.
And so, because you'll see ships that'll all of a suddenly be on the outskirts of the sun and going, where did they come from?
Mhm.
And then they fly, to wherever they're going, and then they disappear back. And so, yeah, Michelle says that's what someone said on Facebook. It was a sun dog, but who knows?
Well, I mean, what about the one round, I guess, craft, I don't know, that like it it plunged into the sun, or it connected like it was getting gas, or like at a gas station. It connected to the sun and
Yeah.
got something from it and then flew off. That was captured on camera or on video. So that happened a couple of years ago though, I don't know.
So here's something interesting that I found out from a guest that I recently had on is plasma energy is kind of like the quantum energy that we're talking about. Everybody, being connected somehow. And
Mhm.
plasma's in the air. So if we could turn light bulbs, into being conductive with plasma, we would
Mhm.
have the Tesla light bulbs where you just put them to the ground and they light up because they're reading the plasma energy.
Yeah.
And plasma's in our bodies, and so the sun, if it is emitting plasma, that would explain why we need vitamin D that
Mhm.
comes from the sun to keep our bodies maintained. Is we need that plasma recharged.
Mhm.
And and so, yeah, and I completely lost where I was going with all of that.
Well,
So
there were some
there you
people
go,
that
everyone.
thought the drones were actually plasma beings. That's what a lot of people thought they were. Um,
Well, and then we had the whole mall incident in, what was it, Florida, where they said, "Oh, we had beings from another world that came in,"
mhm.
and then that got hushed up, but they tried to cover it up, but then it was like the number of cop cars versus what their story didn't match up.
Am I allowed to just chillax? Like, I'm sorry, I'm not very professional right now. I feel well. I don't feel bad, but is this okay?
What, when has my show ever been
I've been on it ten
professional?
times. I mean, it's fine. Yeah, it's okay. But I
Yeah.
do, all right, like 10, 15 minutes. I do have to go. I have to take my son somewhere. But we can always do this again sometime.
Well, yeah. Michelle messaged. She's got to go. She's got to do a few things. It was fun chatting. Jason just chimed in and he was saying it was nice to meet your guest.
Thank you.
That's probably because he came in to see me and not Lala. Hey, I just
Sure.
saying it's you put the namesake up, so people that's how they're gonna know you now is when they watch this episode. They're gonna be like, "Hey,
Me.
when's that guest me coming back on?" And I'll be like, "Who?"
Well, I mean, when you know somebody, when you call, you're like, "Hey, it's me." I mean, that's you know, they'll figure it out. It's fine.
Actually, when I call people, I'm just like, "How's it going?" Hey. I don't
Hmm.
ever identify myself because I figure they already know who I am because either they called me or it should be in their phone.
Well, not everybody's special like you. I'm sorry.
One is saying "La La Who."
Fuck you in a respectful way.
No, but and I actually found myself actually in a quandary because I
Yeah.
sat down and I was writing up the show and all the links late last night, technically around midnight, so early this morning.
Hmm.
And I was like, is Lala one word or is there a space between the la and the la?
You don't know me at all.
I'm like, because, and I look in the past and I'm like, I've had it Lala where it's one word. And then I put the space in it and you're like, it looks perfect. And so I'm like, so does
I
it like
probably
not
wasn't paying
matter?
attention. Yeah. I have ADD, and I'll just say that's
Like,
great. That's great.
it's like you're saying it's you've been on like 10 times. It's like what do we care what name we
I don't give a shit.
use?
Yeah. So yeah. No, it's one word. Yeah, Lala. Well,
Zach
it's
is
Laura,
saying,
but I was never called Laura. So.
really? Your name's Laura?
Oh my God! Yes, legally. Yeah.
You have never told me that.
Yeah, my well. I mean, nobody called me Laura ever, really. So I was just Lala. But legally, I'm Laura. Yeah, Laura Ann Bergren.
Well, that makes
My
sense where
son's
the
last
law
name is
comes
Berg.
from.
Huh?
I said that makes sense where the LA and Lala comes from.
Yeah.
I
And I
always
took my
thought that
son's last name. What?
I always thought that was your name, Lala. I was like,
Well,
you had the coolest parents to name you Lala.
thank you. No, no. That I consider that my name. Truthfully, I don't really go by Laura. So unless it's document paperwork. So
So,
my business is Lala. You know.
in all fairness, Michael's my middle name.
What the fuck? What's your first name?
I don't use it, and I actually had numerology done and was told if I ever use it, the energy vibration will drop.
Jesus. What is your first name? Just tell, what's the wait? Let me guess. What's the first letter? Let me guess.
J. The letter J, not the word J.
Jake. Jack Queen. No.
What?
Hold on. Wait. Jamiroquai. I don't
Actually,
know
I
what
would
all these
use
day
that
names
if I
are.
had that,
Jimmy.
but
Jimmy
nope.
John. All right. What
You,
is it?
you have left the ballpark.
All right. Well, whatever. It's fine.
And sorry, Lon, it's not Jeffrey.
Well,
See,
what other
those names would
Jimmy?
be cool. So I actually have the same first name as my dad.
Johanna. Is it like a a biblical name. Is that a
You are
biblical?
like giving me. It is biblical, but you keep giving me female names now,
No,
Johanna.
no, I didn't say Johanna. I said, what's that one Bible? Jehovah, Jehovah Witness. Is that
Yeah,
your name?
no,
I don't know.
no, Joseph.
Oh, that's not a bad name. Somebody
No,
says
it's
the
just
bad doesn't.
energetically, it just doesn't work for me. And my mom didn't wanted me to be Michael, and so
Hmm.
I had a secretary named Joe, and my
Mhm.
dad and I having the same name. We were like, when people would call, we'd be like, "Who are you looking for?" And it was kind of getting a little like, there's got to be a better system. So I was like, I finally took my middle name.
I like your middle name.
Yeah,
It suits you better. So
it
yeah,
does.
just like Lala suits me better instead of Laura.
I'm not going to argue that.
All right, I gotta go. It was very nice.
So does Lon.
All right. Well, yeah, we'll set something up for whenever you need me, and I'll come back.
That's a deal.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being available.
Sorry, I'm laying in bed. Also,
I would be if my computer was in that room.
dude, yeah, okay, yep. I'm not gonna say anything. Yep. Okay.
When has
Have
that
a good
ever
night.
stopped you?
Well, okay. I'm being good. All right, I gotta go take my baby somewhere, so I
All
will talk
right.
later.
Thank you very much. And thank you for what you do.
No, thank you. This was fun.
It was.
Oh, hold on, let me get out. Okay, last question. How do I get out of here?
You push the red button that has an arrow pointing away from the sea.
Well, technically, it's like a burnt orange.
Well, now we're going to argue semantics, Laura.
All right, bye.
All
Wait,
right,
can I go?
bye.
Okay, bye.
Yeah. So thank you all for tuning in and join us, for more of these fun, exciting episodes throughout the month. I have so many great episodes this season and great episodes to come. So thank you for all your support and everything. And thank you to everyone. And with that, we are going to say good night and have a wonderful rest of the week. And we will see you next week. Have a great one, everyone.